Yo, what is going on, guys? It's your boy AAR120 bringing you guys my ICBA Week 5 game versus Goldoadragon, coach of the New York Empoleons. Now, a couple of things before I get into this week's game, as there are a few updates. The first is, speaking of updates, actually, I am going to link a tweet deck down below in the description. It sort of updates on everything that's been going on as of late and everything that will go on in the future, for at the very least the near future. So I highly recommend you guys check that out. I mentioned I was going to make an update video on Twitter. I never got around to it, and at this point I'm playing catch up, so I figured I'd make the tweet longer. So I'm going to link that down below, and that's going to be that for the updates. The only other thing, I guess, and this is something I actually decided to do sooner rather than later, purely because of another league that I joined, which I'm not going to announce yet. I'll let the Twitter for that announce me over the next couple days. But I did join another league, and because of that, I decided sooner rather than later. I was originally going to do this after BBL ended, but I am revamping my front office. So anyone who is interested, comment down below, message me on Discord or Twitter. Just message somewhere, I guess. You guys know all my information at this point. Speaking of that, Twitter down below, Discord server down below. Those are both great ways to message me if you're interested in joining my front office. I highly recommend you guys do. If you're going to be an interested builder, that is. I love working with my front office. They're always people I really connect with really well, such as, for example, my boy Splurge. Shout out to Splurge. Always a very, very valuable member of my front office, especially for BBL. The man's carried me. I also have Omega Jolteon, another very valuable member to my front office between ICBA and IBA, and man has been so fucking helpful. And tons of others. I could go on listing my front office, such as, I know Mio's offered help when he's available. There's Ultra, who's been a great help. That's it for the really reliable members. I know Matt also helps me a lot with mocks. Again, shout out to Matt. And also, I guess Saint has been a fairly decent help as well. That's enough, I guess, for thanking people for help with front office. Point being, though, if you are interested, comment down below, join my Discord, or follow me on Twitter. All those are great ways to message me if you're interested in joining. Without further ado, let's get right into the actual game, as I spent 2 minutes going on tangents. So my opponent this week, Goldoadragon, brings, just like me, a no S tier team with Lando T with an offensive Z Crystal, Mega Gallade, Tapu Fini, Jolteon, Mandibuzz, Roserade, Chandelure with Z offense, RIBOMBULLY with Z offense, Drampa with Z offense, Jirachi, and Kingler with Z offense. So right away, we know Goldoa is a really, really Z offense valued player, as he has 5 Z offense mons. All of them are pretty scary, not gonna lie, except for Chandelure. Chandelure's not really that scary versus my team. But like Z RIBOMBULLY could be a low-key threat. Z Drampa and Kingler could even be potential lures for things. I'm not really too scared of the last two, but RIBOMBULLY, especially at +1, this thing is actually going to be a potential nightmare for my team to handle. For some reason, a lot of my drafts of late have been really losing to RIBOMBULLY in terms of team preview. My team at +1, besides Lax, really does not have a good way to handle this. Lando T could also be a very scary mon. I'm expecting more so a Scarf set, and that's why I'll get into my into my spreads a little bit. I expect Scarf or like an Adamant Z move set. So either of those could be very scary Z-mons. Without further ado, though, let's get right into my team. This week, first up, I have Speedy Boy, our Tapu Koko, with a Jolly Nature with Hidden Power, Ice with U-Turn, Wild Charge, and Brave Bird. With Hidden Power Ice, I can still 2-hit KO Lando T no matter what variant, unless he's like max HP, max Spadef, which he's really running that hard Spadef, then go Goldoa, to be honest, but I don't really anticipate it, as he really does need the speed this week. So I do anticipate him possibly bring like a Rock Polish Adamant set to potentially try and SB my team and then just sweep with the Z move. But luckily for us, we do have Shaka Koko, and Shaka Koko should beat him in any scenario, no matter what, unless if he's already set up, which if that's the case, I do have other answers to Lando T, which I'll get into in a bit. But I do have that. U-Turn, a Wild Charge, and Brave Bird hit his team really well. I have Brave Bird mainly for Roserade, as Roserade would be his main switch into a Wild Charge besides Lando T, who I do have Hidden Power Ice for. And then U-Turn is just great momentum versus Goldoa's team, as it does put in the finals to work. Also, Brave Bird, I guess, does help do more damage to Mega Gallade, as depending on a spread, Wild Charge could be a roll, especially after terrain is over, but Brave Bird would never be a roll. So yeah, next up we have Best Defogger, our Volibee, with Foul Play, Roost, Toxic, and Knockoff. Knockoff could be very valuable, especially to scout items on Lando T, because especially if it switches in on a Knockoff, then if I see that I can't lose an item, then we know that it's Z move. Also for other things such as RIBOMBULLY, or really any other Z-mon on his team. Knockoff also helps with clearing items on Jirachi potentially, as Jirachi with item could be very scary for my team, especially if it's Berry. Foul Play, mainly here for Mega Gallade, as an SD Mega Gallade cannot OHKO this thing even at +2, and I can guarantee take it out if it is +2 after a little bit of chip. Depending on his spread, I could even OHKO it right away, but overall this thing is meant to just hit his main setup mons being Lando T and Mega Gallade in terms of the physical side with foul play damage, which should annihilate them, and Toxic could be very useful for things such as the Mana Buzz, as his Mana Buzz is actually a real pain in the ass for my team to break. I really do only have Coco for it, to be honest, in this matchup. Next up, we have Ramon Classic, our Zygarde. With an adamant nature, I have immunity on this thing, mainly so I don't get Toxic stalled by things such as Mana Buzz, or even T-Spikes. Roserade could be a potential thing that could try and Toxic stall me. I have Earthquake, Recycle, Curse, and Return. Main reason being is Curse plus Return hits this team really fucking well. I really need an Earthquake because otherwise Rachi could potentially wall me, especially if it got boosted, such as a Calm Mind. Rachi could actually be really scary for this last set. Return overall though hits everything else really well on his team. And Recycle, I do have Recycle Citrus Berry. Main reason being is I didn't want to get too low and then end up, let's say if I got to 30% and he then O-code me from that point. Because I'm not running Gluttony, I really didn't want to risk the 50% berries, as while they are very great in a pinch, I would much rather rely on Citrus that is going to much more often than not get me back to my HP range. So I figured that was just better because I'm not running Gluttony this week. Next up, I have Shadowfire XD, our Normalium Z. Yes, we are finally bringing the set. Our Normalium Z Typhlosion with Flame Charge, Nature Power, Fire Blast, and Hidden Power. I believe Ice? Yeah, Hidden Power Ice for Lando T. At +1 speed, this should outspeed Lando T even if it is Scarfed. I have Z Nature Power because in terrain, this will OHKO any variant of Mandibuzz, which actually, believe it or not, our Tapu Koko, depending on his spread, actually any physical variant, I should say, physical defensive variant of Mandibuzz, this will OHKO. Mandibuzz could potentially try and whittle down my Tapu Koko, quote-unquote, wallet because of things like Helmet. Toxic stalling tends to be a thing, and he could just roost up. I would wear myself down really fast with that, which is the main downside of my Koko this week. But Z Nature Power would OHKO Mandibuzz flat out, even without Rocks up, which is very great because my team, I'm pretty sure I didn't bring Rocks this week, actually, versus Goldoadragon. Yeah, I didn't bring Rocks this week. So that was actually very, very terrifying. But luckily, this thing should actually KO Mandibuzz even without Rocks up, unless if it is a Spadef variant. And he would need a little bit of, decent chunk of Spadef to actually live the hit. So very, very nice, of course, to handle the Mandibuzz, as my team is fairly hard to actually break a Mandibuzz. This can also do a lot of damage to things like the Mega Gallade, for example. It can do a ton of damage too. So overall, though, terrain boosting Nature Power for the Normalium Z is actually going to hit his team really hard, as his immunities aren't the best in terms of handling his Typhlosion spread, actually. So yeah, next up we have Wolfie, our Zoroark with Timid Nature Choice Scarf. I have Dark Pulse, Memento, U-Turn, and Foul Play. Foul Play, it's another deterrent to things like the Mega Gallade, only this should be able to outspeed them, so I won't need to take a hit from a +2 close combat if it is set up. Also for Lando T, I guess. Dark Pulse is really nice for Rachi, as I said, I do anticipate actually a Spadef Rachi, or especially offensive Rachi this week, as it is a really solid way to potentially get around a Curse-Lax, and also it does fairly well coverage-wise versus my team. And if he's trying to handle, let's say, a Specs Koko, for example, which again could do fairly decent damage to his team, and wouldn't need to worry about things like a Helmet Mandibuzz, then that would be a really solid way around it because he could just Calm Mind boost and then handle it that way. Memento is also really nice in terms of passing into something like, let's say, the Koko, which could potentially whittle down his team, also potentially into Snorlax to set up, or Zygarde even could potentially just go in, fake that it's going to set up, and just click a Banded hit, which I'll get into Zygarde a little bit more in a bit. But I do plan on faking this thing, most likely as a Zygarde, to be honest, as I said, because it will force his team to play around a potential setup really differently than just taking a Scarf U-turn or a Foul Play. And it could be really nice for mind games later on. Finally, though, we do have Colgate, because you gotta keep that fresh smile with the Colgate brand toothpaste. We are not sponsored, of course. But we're going to be smiling real good after this Banded Zygarde does so much damage to Goldoa's team with 1,000 Arrows, Outrage, E-Speed, and Toxic. Toxic is mainly there for the Mandibuzz, because once I can get that thing poisoned, I can whittle this thing down so easily with things like a Banded Outrage or Banded Arrows. If I can clear Ribombully, this set actually could potentially just win the game for me. The one issue is if he has Ice Punch Mega Gallade. However, again, I do have a lot of Mega Gallade answers, so I'm not overly worried about that. And I can potentially fake other mons into being this and then pick off Mega Gallade really easily like that, such as I can fake this Zoroark being my Zygarde and then potentially go for Foul Play, and that's a really solid way to whittle it down that way with Foul Play damage. Overall, though, I think that my team is going to be really solid this week. It just comes down to how I play it. And without further ado, let's get right into the game. So as you can see here, my opponent brings the Lando T, the Mega Gallade, the Jirachi, the Mandibuzz, the Jolteon, and the Ribombully. So right off the bat, I'm anticipating a few different things. One, I'm anticipating Rocks and Jirachi this week, because with this team comp, I'm anticipating possibly like a Calm Mind, Dual Stab, and even like Rocks on his Jirachi this week. Because otherwise, I don't really see any other rockers he may have, because the Lando T on this team really looks like it's going to be a physically offensive Mon, potentially even a Scarfer to catch off my team really well, because I don't see any other Scarfers on this team, and I feel like he really does need one versus things like Tapu Koko. I don't anticipate this Ribombee being webs at all, actually. I anticipate it being Quiver Dance, because Quiver Dance Ribombee, as I mentioned, can annihilate my team, and he definitely does have ways around my Snorlax, which is the one thing for it, I guess, at +1. His Mana Buzz going to be a pain in the ass. Jolteon going to be a pain in the ass, mostly just because it could potentially throw off my team, and I really need to play around it really well. And I also know that Goldoa loves Specs Jolteon, so I'm going to need to play around that really easily as well, which won't be the best thing in the world for my team to do. So, otherwise, though, I think my team in general could definitely match up really well versus Goldoa. It's just going to have to come down to... Brief moment, I actually forgot to mention this in my video, and I don't know how, but I just want to give a massive shout out. You guys are going to actually see a new layout that I actually got from Bird, who commissioned this from Odds. He commissioned it mainly for him to use, but he figured that since I'm editing his graphics for him for all of his videos, that he would let me use it as well, and I really do appreciate that, because it actually looks really nice, and I love how it's set up. So in this video, you're going to see a new layout. I'm testing it out. I think it actually looks really nice, personally. That I got permission to use from Bird, who commissioned this from Odds, so make sure to check out Odds, of course. Amazing GFX guy. I'm going to link him down below. Probably in all my Citra battles from now on, because I'm probably going to use this in all my Citra battles, unless if they're, like, for example, actually, no, because if it's Citra, it wouldn't have any other layout. I was going to say, unless they're from Stream, but Stream would be live comm off of normal DS, and any Showdown games would have a layout already. So any Citra battles, though, you guys will probably see this layout, no matter what league it's for. I realistically like this this layout much more than any other layout I've ever really seen in terms of using it for a Citra game, because it still shows the Mons while also doesn't really take away from the HD aspect, which is something that I know Bird and I talked about a lot when we were in call together. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys checking out the layout. Of course, you guys should check out Odds again. That's enough for this, though. Get into the actual game. I'll see you guys there. Peace out. Getting predictions right, getting leads right, etc. So, first Goldoa's team, I do anticipate a Rachi or Lando T lead, and my opponent leads off with Ranulf, which is actually his Lando T, so I got the lead perfectly right, in my opinion. Just not necessarily the set. I do left with Speedy Boy, my Tapu Koko, as that will handle both of those leads pretty well. I can gain momentum on Jirachi into whatever mon I want to try and clear it with, and versus Lando T, I can just go for Hidden Power Ice, or even just U-turn and try and gain momentum versus him. So, seeing this Lando T lead, I just click Hidden Power Ice, because there's not really a drawback to it necessarily. And it does a fair amount of damage to him, not gonna lie. He goes for a U-turn here trying to get the slow pivot, which is fairly nice for him, not gonna lie, but it doesn't necessarily have the best results, as he did take a ton of damage in his Lando T already, which could have been a potential win con for him. He is going to Jolteon here, however, which is actually pretty nice for him, as I can't do a ton of damage to Jolteon, and depending on the spread, I may even need to hard swap, because he could have like Specs and Power Ground, and that would do a ton of damage to me. So I'm just gonna hard swap here in a Rowan Classic, and not risk any speed ties or anything. He's going to go for the Volt Switch here, which does reveal to me that he is Specs damage guaranteed because of how much damage he was doing. There's no possible way he could have done that much damage. Actually, never mind. I just realized I had Terrain Up, so that could have potentially boosted the calc a lot. Regardless, though, I see the Mega Gallade come in on my Snorlax, and I immediately go into Best Defogger. And I figured that regardless, if he's going to go for SD here, that's perfectly fine. If he goes for Knockoff here, that's perfectly fine as well, because he can't actually kill me next turn with Close Combat, guaranteed. Unless if he got to +2, of course. He is going to go for the knockoff here, actually, which definitely does suck, not going to lie. But a normal close combat without any boost should not KO me at this point still. So, I think regardless, I'm still in a good position against this Mega Gallade. He is going to hard swap in his Jirachi here, which is perfectly fine. I'm going to click Foul Play here. And it's going to reveal here that he's probably especially invested Jirachi. Or at the very least, he does have no attack investment. So he's going to go and gain his weakness policy here, which is actually extremely detrimental, because it means that we cannot knock him off and get any significant damage off. We also cannot, at this point, go for anything that's going to really do any damage to this Jirachi. And not only that, but he's clicking Ancient Power here, which is, of course, going to kill our Volbeat, which puts us in a major disadvantage. I figured I was going to sack regardless, but it does put us at a disadvantage at the very least, because we cannot Toxic the Mana Buzz as easily. We have to rely on Zygarde at this point. I went into Zoroark here and gained a U-turn here. I didn't think he was going to stay in, actually, on my Zygarde of all things. But, I mean, I'm perfectly content with him staying in, because it does give me a free switch into Ramon Classic here, which can take any hit from this thing. He's actually going to go for the Psychic here, which had I actually just clicked Dark Pulse instead, he would have ended up losing his Jirachi at that point, which would have been great for me. But again, not the biggest deal in the world. I'm just going to stay with my Flax here at this point and try and potentially 1v1 this Jirachi. he's going to go for Ancient Power here, which definitely does a decent amount of damage, and the +1 boost on top of his already +2 offenses is going to really hurt, actually, because he's getting +3 attacks off, and he's going to get +1 in all of his bulk stats. Luckily, however, instead of clicking Recycle like I almost did, I do click the Earthquake here, and we are just able to kill this Jirachi. So the Jirachi is now gone. That's actually really solid for my team, because a +3 offense Jirachi with +1 speed defenses could have been very terrifying for me. He does bring in his Lando T at this point, which isn't the biggest deal in the world, actually, because Lando T is fairly weak. And I could potentially just sack my Lax here and then bring in a counter to Lando T, which should be fairly nice for me. He's going to go for the Z move here and just burn that off, which I'm pretty content with him just burning the Z move off here. It doesn't really matter, because at this point Lax is too low. I would need to rely on getting a Recycle off and getting my HP back up, which would be very hard actually versus his team, as I could really only do it for this Mandibuzz, and I see Mandibuzz being a potential mon for just late game stalling out my team once he's cleared my Koko. So I don't really see me getting an opportunity to do that. However, knowing that he has Z-move here, I'm actually going to bring in Shadowfire XD, our Typhlosion here, and I'm just going to handle this Lando T and get my Typhlosion a kill for once. So I'm going to get this HP Ice off here, and I'm going to kill off the Lando T, which is going to be very nice for my team in general, not having to worry about a potential Rock Polish Lando T late game. He's going to bring in Boyd here, which is his Mega Gallade, and this could actually be a little bit scary for my Typhlosion. However, he actually mispredicts and goes for the knockoff here, which is actually really solid for us, as we get a free Fire Blast off, which is going to do some really nice damage to his Mega Gallade. It's going to do about half. I then decide I'm going to click Nature Power here with the Normalium Z, which sadly he ends up killing me off anyway, because Normalium Z at this point could have killed the Mega Gallade without the terrain boosting at all, because 1, the defense drops, and 2, the fact that Mega Gallade was taking 50% already from the Fire Blast. I had the same rolls with Normalium Z. I'm going to bring in my Zoroark again here, and he's going to withdraw, of course, his Mega Gallade, and he's going to go into Milliard, which is his Mandibuzz, which is not the best for me because I did click Dark Pulse here, and that really doesn't do a ton of damage. I should have went with my gut and clicked U-turn and gained momentum on him. However, I do have to hard swap here, which is actually really unfortunate because he gets a free Toxic here at this point, whereas I could have gained momentum and went into Koko, and then he would have lacked any switches to Koko at this point, which would have been really amazing for me. He does get the Toxic off of my Koko here, which really does suck because I've now lost my Typhlosion, who could have taken advantage of the terrain, and I'm really only relying on my Tapu Koko to break this Mandibuzz at this point, which means that I'm in a really bad position versus this Mandibuzz. He's able to withdraw here pretty freely and just go into Nefani, which is his Jolteon, which can take any hit from this Tapu Koko really well. I do U-turn luckily here, and I get that prediction right, and I decide I'm going to U-turn here into my actual Zygarde, because every single time I brought in quote-unquote Zygarde, it's been my Zoroark. So I'm really hoping that he's going to bank on it being Zoroark again, and I can get a free kill on this Jolteon. At the very least, try and cling back for differential. Hell, there's even a chance I could still win this game. It's just very unlikely. And luckily, I do get the prediction right, so thankfully. I was in such a bad position, but this turn right here really saved my ass this game and given me any hope to win this game. It's still really downhill for me, as Mandibuzz could potentially outstall my entire team, but there is still a small chance that I can win this game with my Zygarde. So at this point here, he does bring in the Mega Gallade and clicks Ice Punch. I didn't want to risk hard swapping in my Zoroark, as while I could have hard swapped it in and lived an Ice Punch, had he predicted me one for close combat there, that would have 100% been game. However, this of course ends up losing me the game as well. I couldn't have hard swapped in Koko because regardless, Koko would have taken way too much damage to 1v1 things like the Mandibuzz. I can still bring in my Tapu Koko and kill off the Mega Gallade, which is very nice. I should have went into Mandibuzz instead, so I didn't take as much recoil and toxic damage. Not Mandibuzz. I should have went into Zoroark here and foul played, because I wouldn't have taken as much damage from the Wild Charge plus the Toxic, which is very unfortunate for me. Not only that, but he does bring in Ribombully here, and him being Sash, I confirmed with Goldoadragon after, him being Sash, this play really didn't matter at all. Had I stayed in quick Wild Charge and he was not Sash, then him going for Quiver Dance right here was a 100% choke. I had hard swapped here to potentially try and see if maybe there was any hope at him clicking Moonblast, and I can maybe get my toxic damage lowered, because had he just clicked Moonblast here, that could have potentially saved me. But him going for Quiver Dance, the fact that he was Sashed, there was no possible way I win this game. So of course, I'm getting Ribombully 2.0, and I lose this game 2-0 to Ribom. Actually, might have been 3-0. I really can't remember differential-wise. I think it was 2-0. Yeah, it was 2-0. I confirmed with Goldoadragon after. So this was a 2-0 loss to Ribombully, of course, aka Selkie. I actually almost thought this was Silky, But then I realized it was an E, not an I, and I gave Goldo props for a reference that I shouldn't have, because I was really thinking this is a Teen Titans reference. But sadly, of course, Goldo is just bullying me with an unnicknamed Mon. So it is what it is. We do lose 2-0 to Goldoadragon. We're now 2-3. Not the biggest deal in the world. We can still very easily come back from this. It's only week 5. We're 2-3. Our conference that we're in, this could actually be a still very easily playoff potential run. So next week we play Alpha Lycanroc, coach of the Oakland Arcanines. I think my matchup versus him is actually really amazing, and I think there's still a very good chance that we can actually pull through and win this game. So we'll just have to see what happens. I play him actually tonight, so I'm hoping for the best. If you guys did enjoy it, leave a like down below. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, the front office positions are available. You guys can help with leagues such as ICBA, IBA, another league that's going to be unnamed in NPL. All those leagues are going to be available, and you guys can apply for all of them. I'd be loving to see all your beautiful faces there, as well as the comments down below and on my Twitter and Discord server. I'd love to talk to you guys in all those places. Until then, though, I will see you guys later. Peace out.